Agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro iwe nye anyị ndụ ala nke dị ndụ n'ụbọchị nke taa anyị wee na-asị na ịja mma niile otu niile dịrị aha nsọ gị onye ọ bụ naanị ya ka ike niile na ọ gbadara aka ya anyị wee na-akpọku gị na-asị gị na nke ọma anyị ga-ekele gị nke ọjọọ ma anyị kelee gị anyị wee na-aja gị mma wee na-eto gị wee na-asọpụrụ gị n'isi ụmụ gị niile bụ ndị ikwu ndị wee ezi oku mgbe a kpọrọ ha ka ha wee chekwaa ala nsọ gị bụ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na ihe n'ikwuru anyị nkwa na o mekataghị ka ndị iro wee were ala nsọ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na nke bi n'igwe agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro ma ndị na-agba mgbọgba ebe niile dị iche iche onye nwe m na Chineke nna ihere bụ nke ndị dị etu a n'ụbọchị nke taa anyị wee na-etoghị wee na-asị onye nwe anyị na Chineke nna nke pụrụ m ihe niile onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-azọpụta onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen anyị wee na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi na n'otuto na-eja mma na nsọpụrụ site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ise ise ise.
The ideology and the way they're going about putting their message across. Do you agree with their method or would you condemn them?
Let me be clear. I am the only one on this podium who is very clear on IPOB, agitation, the neo-Biafranism and neo-Zekism. I happen to be the immediate past chairman of the Ohaneze Ndigbo Planning and Strategy Committee, and at Ekwueme Square, we reeled out the position of the Igbos on restructuring Nigeria. That obviously says, in terms of the mainstream about independent Biafra, I am a Pan-Africanist, a Pan-Nigerian, and that I have said and written copiously about for decades. However, I also am on record to have also said that the IPOB deserves to be heard, that this thing where the idea that the agitation cannot be shut down by a gun. When my brother says you have to find out, it's living in the moon. All these years, you don't know what IPOB is agitating for. You know what they're agitating for. You're either for or not against. That's not world leadership. So for me, we need to have a dialogue, bring everybody to the table, and discuss those specific issues that are the agitations. And then get it. But I have an alternative view, and my alternative view is prosperity in Anambra and prosperity for the Southeast.
Okay, candidate of the PDP, Valentine Ozigbo, same question. Where do you stand on the question of IPOB?
Very clearly. See, in life, I've seen good men do wrong things. I've seen wrong men do good things. So it's always good to get to the activities of any group or any person and support what is good and condemn what is wrong. So there's certain things IPOB does through agitation on things that happen that I support. But when they get to some extreme, then I condemn. It's not clear. So there's no equivocation and speaking grammar about it. It's that simple. But the real issue here is, where is the heart of all of this? I can tell you, if not for the way the current government at the level, both state and federal, have handled IPOB question, we wouldn't get to where we are today. Let's start by accepting responsibility. We created the extremism that things started getting to, and which is we need to now have the right person that inspires hope for that dialogue to happen. When they see you as the problem already, you can't be the one to mediate. That's why you need a Valentine, a useful person, I keep insisting, to deal with issues of IPOB. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. If you are just joining us, if you are watching us on Arise TV, or you are listening to us on Anambra Broadcasting Service on Ogene FM, this is the Anambra Gubernatorial Debate 2021, coming to you live from Oka. And we have here with us the candidate of the APC, Senator Andy Uba, candidate of the APGA, Professor Charles C. Soludo, and candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Valentine Ozigbo. We go on a short break now. When we return, the debate will continue. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Joining us. Thanks for staying with us as we have this debate between three candidates. Of course, the candidate of the APC, Andy Uba, the candidate of ABGA, Charles Chukuma Soludo, Professor. Of course, the candidate of the PDP is none other than Valentine Ozibo. The three gentlemen have been responding to different questions in the course of this debate. They've touched on security, touched on what exactly they have in store for the people of Anambra as far as infrastructure is concerned. We'll still stay a bit on the issues around the economy before we move on to other points. Doctor?
Well, very quickly, I was going to raise this question, and I think I should start with you, candidate of the APC. Anambra is very famous for its large population of billionaires. But many of these billionaires, they are great investors in other parts of the country. They often just come home for holiday or to come and take care of their country homes. What will you do if you were to become governor of Anambra State to attract these investors, these billionaires, to Anambra State? Some kind of incentive, particularly now that there is an international airport here. And why do you think many of these likely homegrown investors stay away from Anambra?
First of all, you have to make sure that the security station is calm. Make sure they are secured when they come. Number two, you have to give them some tax incentives, whereby when they come, you give them some years of tax incentive that will make them to now bring their investment in Anambra State into housing, into petroleum, oil and gas, into different sectors. You have to give them incentive that will make them come back. There's no such incentive in this government. I have to give them tax incentive that will allow them to invest their funds in the state, because they will be investing in many places, in Lagos, Kano, and different places. They're not doing so here because they don't have, one, the security, one, they don't have the tax incentive that will help them to invest their money. Thank you.
All right, let me take it to the candidate of ABGA, Professor Charles Soludo. The same question. How will you attract foreign direct investment? And what will be your strategy to encourage local investors? Like they say, charity does begin at home.
Thank you very much. Just one line. First of all, corporate taxes are within the federal exclusive list, not state. State doesn't have power to give tax concessions to companies. That's given. Now, what we have in our manifesto, we have a full agenda to make Anambra the #1 place for ease of doing business. We've got stuff, items from industrial parks that will be gas-powered. We have the enablers in terms of security. We have the ICT that we're going to have the last mile connection from the 850 kilometers of broadband fiber optic cable around the state, for people to have access to easy and cheap Wi-Fi access. Of course, once you fix security, human capital is very, very key. And then our industrial parks, where we're going to deploy captive power and in partnership, of course, with the EEDC, there is the eBay to gas plant already at Omase, ready to go. All this we're going to deploy to have for people, industrialists in the industrial clusters, to have access to cheap power. Of course, fixing the road infrastructure is one. And then we have the big elephant in the room, and which is our big venture capital fund, where we're warehousing about 5 billion naira every year to help with the startups. If you come to Anambra to do it, we are targeting about 1,000 youth millionaires every year. If you can do it in Anambra, we'll give you that. We have from importing to manufacturing to exportation program, where those who are importers, importing, we structure deals between you and your foreign partners to come and manufacture it here in Anambra. And if you manufacture it in Anambra, I'm wearing a queta, for example, The Made in Anambra First project and the Anambra standards is what we are going to promote. My whole agenda to make Anambra an industrial technology leisure hub of West Africa. It's a huge thing. I can speak about it for the next several hours, as it were. What we have to create Anambra as a digital tribe, because the investors to come need a workforce that is keyed into the digital space, as it were. They need the workforce that have got the talent, the skills, and the effective labor wage as low as possible. There is a rising cost of manufacturers in India and China today, and they're looking for cheaper cost production areas. Our agenda is to make Anambra the #1 in terms of ease of doing business. We're going to ratchet up that. The ease with which you register and transfer titles, for example, of land, property, we want to bring it down from whatever now to no more than 72 hours, and so on and so forth. And commercial costs to settle commercial disputes. These are what the investors need to come to Anambra.
Thank you, Professor Soludo. Well, more or less the same question. You know, definitely the people of Anambra need both local and foreign investors. But let me turn that question around a little bit. If you talk about Anambra, people refer to Onitsha, famous Onitsha, which is the commercial nerve center of the state. People talk about Nnewi, which is the technological hub in the state. Okay, they also talk about Awka, which is the capital. But if you were to become governor, what will you do? What strategies do you have in place to transform Onitsha, Nnewi, and also take development in terms of investment to the hinterland, where there's a lot, either in terms of tourism or other resources in the state?
Dr. Ruben, is it that you've been reading my manifesto or you're in the spirit? Because that's exactly the way we need to go. I am sorry to go back to my, again, elder brother here. He's part of this government in many ways, and yet we're one of the worst places to do business. How come nothing has been achieved? And how do you reward impunity? No. Please. But the question here is, how do we get Anambra people to believe in our state, to be able to deploy their resources, to make those resources work for the Anambra? And I have a few things to say quickly. Number one, money goes to where money is comfortable. The whole concept of Akuron of this administration is a failure. I've seen people who leave their businesses from Lagos and down to Anambra, and they become broke because we have a terrain that is uncompetitive. We simply need to raise the level of competitiveness of Anambra. And this is why I evolved a 5-cluster approach to dealing with this issue. First cluster I keep emphasizing is Onitsha. What should happen in Onitsha for it to be more functional, more business friendly? And you don't solve these problems by just thinking from your home. You go to the people and find out from them, what is your problem? Well, how can we help you to do better? And this is why we have to deal with the issue of discipline, the impiawazo, the touts everywhere. We need to curb the